Hello, fellow old schoolers, and welcome to this final match of the Swiss that includes the composition A. And in this matchup, we're going against UR Counterburn. It's another tier 1 deck. It's been doing quite well at this tournament, and in essence, it's built around a blue and red core, packing a bunch of burn through lightning bolts, chain lightnings, and sonic blasts. It uses counterspells and mana drains, and it uses 4 flying men usually and Serendipity Freets. And the UR Counterburn can splash black for Demonic Tutor and Mind Twist. If it does so, it'll have more dual lands like Badlands. It might employ Cities of Brass as well. Though this can be tricky because he has those flying men and Serendipity Freets, so if you put in a playset of Cities of Brass, those City in a Bottles will hurt the UR Counterburn quite a bit. So yeah, that core, blue-red core with a black splash, sometimes it doesn't use the black, but I think the player we're meeting here, he has the black splash. Yeah, it's a very good deck. It's very good, especially against other kinds of tier 1 decks, as it can burn them out and show a lot of aggression early. It also has a better matchup against the deck than the composition A do, I think. But in terms of this particular matchup, I actually think, especially before sideboard, the composition A is the favorite here. The reason for that is that there's just so many big beaters that are very difficult to bolt out. UR Counterburn has a bit of issues with handling a Jusumgen, as it can't Sonic Blast it, and it requires 2 bolts to take it out. And Counterburn doesn't usually pack City in a Bottle itself because it has those Serendipity Freets and Flying Men. So City in a Bottle it would hurt itself even more. Also, the Underworld Dreams will put a hurt on him for his punish him for his draw power. And yeah, so yeah, after sideboard, he can put stuff in order to try to counteract the Jusumgens. But yeah, in this kind of matchup, the composition here, I think it's a slight favorite, especially in the first round. But it's not an easy thing. It's a solid tier 1 deck. It can take games from the best of them. It's just that in this particular matchup, he will have difficulties handling the creature aggression. So yeah, slight edge to the composition A. Let's see if that holds true. So we have the blue-red Counterburn deck on the left here, and myself on composition A on the right. Just cutting each other's deck here, and a new playmat is inbound. This was a game straight after the previous game where I played against the deck. So yeah, a lot of tournament archetypes in this tournament. Classical tournament archetypes to meet. This is the hand of blue-red Counterburn, keeping his entire hand: Mox, Ruby, Volcanic Island, Flying Men, Chaos Orb, Time Walk, Sonic Blast, and Chain Lightning. So early mana, can Time Walk, can cast Chaos Orb, can get a little critter out and burn for a bunch. This is my hand. Badlands, Underground Sea, Mox Sapphire, Mox Pearl, City of Brass, Sushi, and a Hypnotic Spectre. So securely mana fixed there and some opening aggression. Can play either the Sushi or the Hypnotic Spectre turn 2, it seems. There's the Flying Men coming out and the Mox. And we're both keeping our hands here, solid hands. He gets a Sapphire at this point. He probably needed that. Now he has access to the Sonic Blast as well. So he can remove all my creatures with the Chain Lightning and Sonic Blast. Coming in with the Flying Men for a poke here. First Blood. Has the Chaos Orb. And he can activate it as a response if I try to remove it here. Okay, drew into an Ancestral Recall. Good place to play it now because he doesn't have access to counter magic at this point. And then Lightning Bolting the Flying Men. So in this matchup, I'm seeing him as the beatdown. He wants to finish the game fast, so I'm keeping a bit back here, just blocking his threats. Okay, he chain lightnings my dice at this point, and then time walking. Getting a 4th mana source in his draw step. Tapping out completely here. Oh, mind twisting me. Brutal stuff. 3 cards. Both my creatures and my City of Brass. That was really a gut punch. Now I've lost most of my offensive punch here. But the Composition A has a lot of threats to it, so we might have something in our sleeve. Yeah, that's a vampire at least. Took a point of damage from that City of Brass, and he did as well from casting that Mind Twist. It's just a counterspell on a Sonic Blast in hand, so that vampire won't really worry him that much. Okay, he misses with the Chaos Orb though. That's too bad. I wonder why he didn't Sonic Blast it. He probably would have liked to just Sonic Blast me, perhaps. Sonic Blasting the vampire. I think I would have waited with that Chaos Orb. There might come a Jusum Djinn or something. Or an Underworld Dreams. Okay, now I'm trying to pick his mana apart. And there's the Jusum Djinn. Yeah, that's what I mean. He can't Sonic Blast that. Flying Men. Jusum Djinns are quite, as said, they're quite great in this matchup. Can't easily be removed by the counterburn player. And Underworld Dreams. So, yeah, the pressure is on. I've emptied my hand though. He has another land. He has a single counterspell in hand, but I'm sufficiently fixed at this point. No need to do anything more, just attack him. Takes it on the chin though. Time Twistering for 7 points of damage. He needs to counter this, of course. Yeah, so he does so here. Taking point of damage from the Underworld Dreams, getting a Factory. It's not enough. Even if that Factory could pump itself, it wouldn't be enough if he double blocked it. But he can stay alive for a few moments here. Blackwise. Attacking with the cow again. Sacrificing the Factory to survive. Giving it a good think here. I don't know why. If I can remove that Factory, I need to do so now. But I don't. Okay. 2 points of life left. This is game, I think. Serenity Be Freed. I can just pass the turn and he'll die. But it doesn't matter. I'll start to Plowsharing it and just killing him with the Jusum Djinn. So many ways to destroy him here. Yeah, so that was a very quick first game. We are off to round number 2. After sideboard, I think I've put in red blasts. Against UR counterburn, just put in blasts, a lot of blasts. And I've also, I think I put in some Spirit Links as a test. I can use them on my own Jusum Djinns in order to gain a lot of life. You can't remove Jusum Djinns that easily. I wouldn't use them against someone who plays Swords of Plowshares because you can just Plowshare this Jusum Djinn and get a 2-for-1. But against this kind of setup, he needs 2 bolts to get a Sonic Blast and a bolt to get rid of a Jusum Djinn, so it's easier. And the more life I gain, the harder time he'll have of burning me out. It can also be used on his own Serenity Be Freeds. That will negate the damage they do to me, and it will heal me up 1 point each time it's his upkeep, as it does damage to him. Yeah, so I think that's about it. What he sideboards against me, he can sideboard a lot of control magics. He'll usually do that. I don't know if he does so here. Another way is sometimes they take red and blue blasts, sometimes they take shatter. I don't mind either. Blood Moons is an issue. I have a lot of stuff in my sideboard against Blood Moons though, but the UR counterburn setup can use Blood Moons, and sometimes they try that against the Composition A. But we'll see what he packs here. This is round number 2. And we're off to round number 2 here. Composition A being ahead 1-0. And he's on the play, obviously. Here's my hand. Red Blast, 2 Underground Seas and a Badlands, Ancestral Recall, Hypnotic Spectre and a Singular Vampire. That's a good hand. I can defend with the Red Blast. and I can get the Ancestral Recall out even if he has counter magic if I will back it up with that Red Blast. Here's his hand. So Badlands, City of Brass, 2 Red Blast, 2 Lightning Bolts, and a Chaos Orb. So he can hold my blue back a lot of time and bolt for 6 damage. It's a weird hand actually. I think it's doable, but it's very, very reactive. You can bolt my creatures, but yeah, I'm not sure I should keep it. Yeah, at least has the Chaos Orb against any Dusumgens. So it's bad. I think it's a keeper though. Now he has a Badlands out. So I wonder what I'll do here. Yeah, putting down the Badlands because I'm fearing a Red Blast. This is a key play in this sort of matchup. Waiting for him to tap out or waiting for me to get Red Blast back up. So now he has tapped out and I can get the Ancestral Recall out. And I couldn't Red Blast a Red Blast anyway. So I think this was the correct play. Drawing into a couple of Moxen with that Ancestral Recall. That sounds like a sinkhole, yeah. Yeah, cracking his City of Brass this early is probably very good. He didn't have a lot of mana in hand, and it cracks him out of blue. Oh, and then I'm Mind Twisting him. Now it's my turn to Mind Twist him. 4 cards here. Brutal stuff. Yeah, he can Lightning Bolt me as a response if he chooses to. But if he does, I might get all his burn. Okay. So 4 cards. He keeps his... Oh, that's brutal. Wheel of Fortune, Red Blast, and Chain Lightning and a Lightning Bolt, I think. He had a Sonic Blast in hand. Not much to do him with. Now I just need something to follow up with. Yep, Vampire coming out. Yeah, he immediately uses the Chaos Orb. That's the correct play. Perfect. Perfect hit. If I get an untapped phase here, I might have Disenchant, so he needs to do it ASAP. Also before it's his turn, so he can perhaps play something if you get a land. But this is Composition A, so yeah, just threats. That's a factory though. He probably shouldn't block with it yet. He gotta hope for a Black Lotus or something, then he can block as an Sonic Blast. Okay, so he tutors here. I wonder what he'll get here. Cutting a bit forward while he looks through his deck. He passes the turn. I'm very interested to see what he picked. Dusumgen coming over for a huge smash here. And now it's my turn to tutor. I could be real evil here and just get a sinkhole or a time walk or something. Or another creature. I think I'll get another creature if I know myself because he doesn't play with balance, I know this. So, and he doesn't play with City in a Bottle either. Yeah, so getting a Sushi and Strip Mining, my god. This is just brutal. I don't know if perhaps I just tutored for the Strip Mine knowing that I could play the Sushi and Strip Mine in the same turn. I think I did, because otherwise I would have tutored for Dusumgen. But he's so screwed. Getting land destructed out, Mind Twisted and trampled by big critters. Yeah, it's 9 points of damage. Even if you block one, the damage from that City of Brass will kill him. So he Ancestrals a Red Blasted, that's game. The very, very convincing game here, 2-0 for the Composition A. And I am off to the top 8 with the Composition A in this spiky tournament. So I'm very, very pleased with that. I wasn't sure it would be possible with this lineup, but pleasantly surprised, I suppose. We have a bonus game here, and it's actually a longer one. So we'll be back with just a game for fun here. So the set is already concluded with a 2-0 win for the composition A. But we had a lot of time, so here's another game. Island and a Sapphire coming out from him. So he can counter straight from the get-go here. Badlands into a Serendipity free turn 2. That's pretty nice. Okay, so getting a Lotus and Mind Twisting him for 4. That's his entire hand. Volcanic Island, a couple of burn spells, and I think a Sonic Blast as well. But he has that dip out. I can counterattack with the Factory and it will do the same amount of damage to both of us because he takes 1 point of damage from that Serendipity free upkeep. But I suppose he can't bolt or shatter the Factory if I do so. It's a bit of a risk. Okay, I can see, yeah, I'm sinkholding his Badlands for that same reason. He taps it and I go into my attack step, thus clearing the mana pool. But I can't really attack him because I don't have the mana to activate the Factory yet. But now he is sinkhold out of red mana, so I can counterattack, or I could. There's a Factory blocking me. And I'm not up for a trade. I need more mana here. Don't want to trade Factories yet. He couldn't tap his own Factory at this point. Okay, disenchanting his Sapphire. Okay, he activates his Factory. That's fair. That's a response. Taking quite a beating from that Serendipity free. Another Factory, so now I can pump my Factory +1/+1 and trade with him. I should do that, I think. Unless I have something more important in hand. Okay, I do. Jusum Djinn coming out. Yeah, if he attacks, he'll do 3 to me, and yeah, I'll probably all out him if he does so. Okay, he does the same. Okay, if I block the Factory now, he can bolt me. Okay, so when I choose to bolt, he takes it back. I think I probably shouldn't do that, but it's a friendly game. In a tournament, it could be viewed as a bluff. And he would test if I would block and then bolt. So there should be no takesies backsies actually in this situation, I think. But it's a friendly game and who cares, right? Attacking with the Jusum Djinn, I think I should have attacked with a Factory as well here. Okay, so there's a reason why I didn't. I needed to bring something else out. A disc, okay. Yeah, and this is the problem. Okay, he counters the disc. The problem here is in relation to sideboard. I predicted that he would likely sideboard some Blood Moons in. And as I've lost a tournament in Copenhagen at some point to Blood Moons, since then I've really, I think a third of my sideboard is designed against a Blood Moon. And it can tank with about a full playset of it, but what happens if when he doesn't sideboard those Blood Moons in, and he haven't done so? That means I have like a ton of suboptimal cards now, like the disc, for example. Doesn't do me any good. So I actually think that this is perhaps even worse than if he had sideboarded the Blood Moons in, because then I would have targets for all my blue blasts, disenchants, and discs and whatnot. But if he just chooses not to put in the Blood Moons, the composition A is stuck with like so many suboptimal cards. Anyway, passing the turn, he's at 2 points of life here. Yeah, he can just. What? I think he can just attack me. I'm losing this game, and it's because I've sideboarded the composition A totally wrong here, as he didn't put in the Blood Moons. So this is a bit of a conundrum. If I If I don't do it, Blood Moons will screw me. But if I do it and he doesn't put in Blood Moons, yeah, it's really, look there, Blue Blast and Disc, and there was another Disc in the graveyard. So many cards designed against something that wasn't there. So yeah, that's a bit of a dilemma. I think it's even worse when he doesn't put them in. if I predict they're there. Otherwise, if there wasn't the threat of Blood Moon, I could actually take the Disenchants out as well. He might put in Control Magics, but I'll have Red Blast against them. Just put in 3 Red Blasts, and that's it. And the Disenchants, they don't have much of a target against the UR counterburn. So pretty interesting. I had the Spirit Links as well. And more Blue Blasts and Discs. So, but in a casual game like this, it's I like to sideboard a lot of stuff in just to see some outliers and how they work. I'm not taking, of course, anything from outside the sideboard, but I'm just testing the entire sideboard. Normally, I wouldn't like to sideboard that many cards. That's probably a debate for another video, but you can really screw your deck over if you sideboard too much. And especially when you have as many colors as I'm running with here, you can skew the entire balance of how much colored mana you have for each spell. For example, if you just sideboard a bunch of white or red cards in, you'll have too many cards of that color for your mana base to support it, and the deck will choke. So yeah, it's something to be pretty wary about, I think. But yeah, so he won this final round, but in terms of the tournament, it's 2-0 for the Composition A. And next time we see this deck, it will be in the quarterfinals. And now we're using our very own form of time twister here, going back on the SD card to look at some of the other matchups of this tournament in the Swiss. I think we had round number 5. So thank you for watching this final round of the Swiss for the Composition A. And I'll be back with games from other kinds of matchups. See you then.